Inside Foos presents FoosTalk Live.
And looking forward to tonight's show. It could be an interesting one. As we look back on the 1980s.
Enough about you, Tom. Can we talk about me for once? Crying out loud. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this show.
If you don't mind, Clay, if you could do the stats on the show tonight. You know, every time there is an F word uttered, then you need to mark
trust me, there will be stats.
All right.
It's FoosTalk Live.
Are you talking to me?
Compelling and lively banter.
Are you going to talk to us?
Talking foosball.
Foosball was how I measured my value as a man. You took that away.
Players and fans, promoters and pros. Unedited and raw.
Talk.
Living in the moment.
We have a lot of important things to talk about.
All while practicing social distancing.
Cool. We'll talk. No big whoop.
Let's get this thing started. FoosTalk Live. Coming to you live from the studios of Inside Foos, it's the 52nd episode of FoosTalk Live, brought to you by InsideFoos.com. We are offering monthly subscriptions with access to some of the most exciting matches ever recorded, and lots more to come, including live tournaments, pre- and post-show analysis, interviews, and original programming. Also brought to you by 518 Prints, one of the best printers of promotional items, t-shirts, jackets, hoodies, and foosball apparel. Visit 518prints.com today. Also brought to you by Foosballers, the movie. Download your copy of this Joe Hesslinger documentary at foosballersthemovie.com. FoosTalk Live also brought to you by Foosball Clubs USA, promoting foosball through school systems all over the country. Visit foosballclubsusa.com and make a donation today. And finally brought to you by the United States Table Soccer Organization, the USTSO, helping to usher a new era of competitive foosball. Become a member and register today at usafoosball.com. Hey there. I'm Tom Robinson, back together with you to talk foosball for a Sunday evening. Looking forward to it. And of course, you know that conversation is always better when you have someone to share it with. Like the world's greatest foosball play-by-play announcer, that would be Jim Stevens. Hello, Jim.
You muted, my friend.
Jim is
Jim.
muted.
Video pro.
Jim,
Hey, let's see if we can just read his
himself.
list. We got video, so we'll go the whole.
I'll wait for you guys to stop talking. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having us in. Boy, it doesn't take them long to jump in, does it? No, it's exciting. 52 shows. This is number 52. In other words, after last week's anniversary show, we are starting season 2. Which is kind of cool to think about. A very long season. Most of the time on Netflix, you don't get 51 episodes of a show, do you?
Hey,
but it's exciting to think that we're headed into our second year. And hopefully with lots of stories beyond just the COVID one. And looking back at the history, which has been a great part of this opening year and something we'll continue to do. But it'd be nice to have some fresh stories as well.
You know, Jim, it's been a year of living dangerously and with total spontaneity, all thanks to someone from Chicago, Illinois, Windy City. That would be Mark Torres. Hello, Mark.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. My daughter's turned 8 today.
Hey,
What?
wow.
No way.
Heartbreaking.
Happy birthday to your daughters.
Yeah,
that is
happy
awesome.
Birthday.
Yes, I had an anxiety attack. Felt like I
What?
wasn't spending enough time with them. And
And you're
this is
here.
going to be my last show.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
I wouldn't blame you, frankly.
I love this show. Coming back next Sunday. Happy birthday to my daughters. Moving on. What's
Great
next?
news. Great news. And what is 8? That's really the symbol for infinity. Just turned on its
That's
side,
true.
correct? So
That's right.
she's going to live
And
forever.
their month gem or their gemstone is a diamond, and my wife's gemstone is a diamond. And so
Whoa.
I'm not buying them diamonds.
Well,
That ain't happening.
you know, I would be
My
remiss.
little pony.
I would say that this is going to be many happy returns from FoosTalk Live, and we lift we should lift a glass to her, but we'll have to save that for later. How's that sound?
Oh, for
Okay.
sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So, of course, our rugged individualist and electronic Swiss Army knife comes to us from Dallas, Texas. None other than Clay Toomey. Hello, Clay.
I like that intro. Feel free to use that one again.
Wow, that was special.
I like it, dude.
Yeah, it's almost better than the one where he introduces me as one of the best foosball commentators of all time.
I got the best intro in the game right now, and I'm going to hold on to that title for now at least. So.
Yeah, we got a great show tonight, guys. This is a special show. We are talking to certainly one of the greatest players in the history of the sport, a transcendent personality, certainly in the history of foosball,
Right.
as documented in Foosballers, and of course, in you know, we're going to kind of go over her record as the night goes on here, and it's quite extraordinary. It really is. I've been kind of doing my homework as I do every Sunday afternoon and looking at what she has accomplished during her amazing career, and it is truly unbelievable.
Right.
So we'll get into that a little more.
Yeah, looking forward
to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Cindy Head is joining us tonight. The other thing that, of course, we have to talk about is the fact that you guys, you and Mark, Jim and Mark, live and in color, Moneyball coming up. So, yeah, that should be fun. Can you give us more details about that?
Inside Foos is back.
Yeah.
That amounts to. Not only that, Toro and Jim are back. I haven't worked a full tournament with Jim since 05 or 06, maybe. And then everything after that was like just a couple of matches if I popped up at a tournament. And half the time I was blacked out. So I don't even know what I said.
Blacked out?
But this is different. I'm going to Portland to actually work the tournament and be an astute contributing member of the Inside Foos booth. That's a whole different Torres animal.
Like that.
And it's going to be exciting. First time in 15 years that Jim and I have focused
Wow.
on delivering a quality product together. So it's going to be good.
Yeah,
First time
for
ever,
sure.
by the way, for me, trying to deliver a quality product. First time ever.
No, I dispute that. Your commentary is mostly extremely high quality, except when it isn't. But looking forward to that. We'll be live a week from Friday. I believe that's April 30th through May 2nd.
Yes.
At InsideFoos.com. And so looking forward to getting back out there, doing what we love to do, getting back among the people. There are going to be some protocols in place, minimums in terms of number of players that can be in the ballroom. Apparently they have 3 ballrooms and 7,000 feet, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Sure.
But it's going to be a bit of an experiment, but I think it's about that time to start taking these baby steps and getting back out on tour.
Sure.
And of course, we'll be at Moneyball, Texas State, just a month after that. Steve Murray and company,
Wow.
David Raddick and everyone, Jason Wicks, Brittany, who do such a great job with that tournament. Can't wait for that. In fact, we're all going to be there, I think, all 4 of us and a few others with Inside Foos name tags on working that event. And then down to Florida in June, 2 weeks after that, for the Beachtown Beatdown. The Beachtown Beatdown.
That's
Tommy Brewer and Dana Brewer.
That's
who
one
do
of the
such
best
a great job down there.
titles for a foosball tournament I've ever heard. Beachtown Beatdown. That just rolls. I love that.
And tournaments some do better job than others, but giving your tournament like a hook and a brand makes it easy to build the imagination around it and do things with it. So I'd love to see tournaments be a little bit more creative. That angle. Right?
I think that's this is going to be the result of such a drought and not being able to play. People are going to come out and not only be creative, but also be really competitive. I have a feeling that's going to be intense. It's going to cause a lot of, shall we say, renewed vigor. Is that a term?
Well, you know what people are doing that they haven't been doing for a while. They're practicing foosball.
Yes.
They're practicing foosball more than they've ever practiced since they first got. Why not? And what else are you doing? Get your wall pass together so you can go make a statement when you go. I think people are practicing a lot. It's going to look good.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
No question.
Hey, by the way, guys, I've got breaking news. How about that?
Wait. Breaking news? Breaking.
You got breaking news music?
Oh God, I wish I did, but you took me off guard there. Sorry. Yeah, your breaking news is.
Breaking news, literally.
What's happening here?
Sorry, let me do that right.
Let's try that again.
And now, with breaking news, here's Jim Stevens.
No, thank you very much. No, I just literally 5 minutes before we went on the air, I received a text from a Bardo Hearn organizer, Ben Kempner. And I've been in conversations with Ben over the last couple of months, and he has been kind of working towards probably having a tournament. Well, I can tell you, as of today, the Bardo Hearn celebration, one of the great events in the world of table soccer, is on.
Wow.
It's going to be the last weekend. I believe it's going to be July 29th through August 1st, I believe are the dates, at the Comfort Inn in Austin, Texas. And, of course, that tournament has that just tremendous ceremony where we honor the fallen Foosers. And, of course, we'll have a chance this year to honor Joe Kuntz, the man who created the Bardo Hearn celebration and was such a big part of foosball for so long. He passed away last year. And so big news.
Yeah.
Bardo is on.
That's great. Fantastic
Super
news. Yeah, it is sad that that it didn't happen last year because of the COVID crisis. I mean, it again. I hope this is going to make a huge difference in the attendance and everybody shows up to support that cause. What a great bunch of folks. What a great bunch.
Yeah,
of
they
folks.
really are. It is one of my favorite weekends of the year on the schedule, and I've become an integral part of that event. Getting to host that ceremony, getting to be a part of that, getting to meet the family members, and just obviously the competition's great. But it's the other parts of that event that really make it super special. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, very cool. That was breaking news from Jim Stevens. And tune in right here to this page sometime soon to hear more of that breaking news. How's that? Did that work out? Okay.
That was beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, that was gorgeous. Hey, by the way, folks, we are on Twitch tonight. If you want to hop over to Twitch at any point during the broadcast, feel free to do so. You can look at our radio faces, us coming from studios. Mark Torres coming from a gray void of some sort. But
I like his background. I think it looks good.
It's institutional. It wouldn't surprise you if I took off a straight jacket and put it back on after the show was over.
This is
Mark
institutional Mark.
And thanks for everybody who have subscribed to Inside Foos, the new InsideFoos.com. We added some new events. Of course, we started off with more than 500 matches from the archives. We added the 2004 Hall of Fame Classic this past week. Of course, that one was special. As you remember, Mark, you were there with me. Moya Thielens and Garrett Schirkenbach winning mixed doubles. A great run in that event, too, and people forget about it. But the Hawaiian Hammer, Frank Balecha and Dan Lee reaching third place in a very tough field in open doubles, beating some people to get there. And then also a great final in open singles between a 19-year-old, I believe, Billy Pappas and Frederick Collignon. So great set, just released. We also released an ITSF event as well, the World Cup from 2012, when Fred finally gets his gold medal. Spoiler alert, a little late.
Spoiler alert.
And the German ladies also winning the World Cup at that event. So two great new events at InsideFoos.com as we continue to grow Inside Foos. We have 500 and some matches in there now.
Wow.
And that's going to continue to grow as we go along with
Are we going to do
from the
like
archives, original programming, etc.
A weekly edition every week? Well, we can feature a weekly edition of to Inside Foos, something like that.
Yeah, just about every week there will be a new event added, both from the international collection and from the Inside Foos collection as well. So
cool, awesome.
Stay tuned for all of that.
Oh, all this. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Let me add to that. So it's just getting rolling, right? There's a process to taking these matches, individualizing them, identifying the tournament, the year, and putting the players in there to make it a search function. It is absolutely a better function than it was when you had the DVDs and you had to find the matches. This is easy, right? This is innovating. I said I would not say tonight. There's the first one, I think. We'd be innovating and you pushing technology to the next level, but it's just starting there. The amount of original content we're working toward, interviews, tutorials, entertainment, and then the live stream, which is going to be a robust opportunity for our subscribers.
Right.
It's really just building up. I want to put a hook out there. I'm going to punch myself in the throat every time I say tonight. All right, here's the deal. Our Kickstarter is 92% funded.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
92.
It's foosball players that care, because foosball players are getting this there, and it flatlines. We have to continue to ask for support from the foosball community. This Kickstarter money is going to go toward supporting our day-to-day operations, our equipment. We need you to get out there and look at our Kickstarter foosers and just whatever you have that can support us. We're almost to our goal. Once we get to our goal, we're beautiful at that point, and we have great swag left. So the Federico belts,
those are great.
They're all gone already.
They're
all gone.
They're gone.
They're gone.
You had 6 of them, right?
But they were gone within, I think, 10 days. They're all gone. But there's still Steve Murray's Open Singles World Championship ring. There's still the first Masters green jacket. There's 3 incredible jackets from Trevor Park. And Trevor Park, we're actually doing a documentary on Trevor Park.
Wow.
That's going to be
Is that breaking news? Is that breaking news?
Breaking news.
So that's going to end up on our Kickstarter too. There it is.
Wow. That's a lot.
You just missed
Yeah,
one.
and you can also at one point you can also I think you can get your match commentated, can't you? With a
That's
certain
right.
level of pledge.
Right.
Ooh.
You could pledge and have Jim Stevens commentate one of your matches. Any match you choose, Jim will commentate that match and deliver it back to you, and he'll put his
Love
heart
it.
and soul into it because you pledged to our Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Love it.
So there's plenty. There's free subscriptions on our Kickstarter. So
Yeah.
check out our Kickstarter. Go to Kickstarter.com, search for Inside Foos, and support us. Thank you, Foosball community.
You're also doing
Thank you,
matches.
guys.
Part of your pandemic learning over in the last year, you've actually learned a whole new language, and you're doing play-by-play in Spanish too now, right?
I can do it in 17 different languages. I can. Yeah. Just, you have a lot of dead time during pandemics, as
Boy,
I
guess
discovered.
so.
And I learned 17 different languages. So
That's a beautiful prime number, 17.
17. And why 17 and not?
well, because I didn't have enough time to do 18.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Understood. Right.
Yeah.
After all this talking, I'm really feeling a bit parched.
I am very thirsty.
What about you
Yeah.
guys?
What Jim and I like to do right about this time is to reveal our favorite IPA.
Well, let's have at it, Jim. What is it you are drinking this evening?
It's from my favorite brewery, again, up in Alpine, Wyoming, near Jackson. The Melvin Brewery, who constantly are putting out these seasonal things or these small batches. This one is an IPA, of course, called Juice Theorem.
Juice
I think it's sort of like Truth Serum. Juice
Oh,
Theorem,
Juice
Truth
Theorem.
Serum. I think a very attractive orange can. A fellow with a mask on. Enjoying
Love
a
that
beverage.
That is awesome.
So 7.0 alcohol. Let's have a taste. I've never had anything bad from the Melvin Brewery.
Okay.
I'm not sure you guys have never had anything bad.
Actually, it was quite good.
So far.
No, that's true. And one of these times we are going to have something bad
You just never
by
know.
design.
You just never know.
Just never know.
Well,
What about you, Tom?
okay. Tonight, it's a very unique looking can. I don't know if you can see that, but it says Big Cranky. Big Cranky IPA. This is 9.5%. It's a double
boy.
IPA. So, yes, I'm doing like you, Jim. I'm following your example, and I'm going to pour me a glass here. Look at that
Nice.
color. Look at that color. The other thing is that it comes from Stony Creek, which is Stratford, Connecticut. And I've been in that neighborhood, but never stopped at Stony Creek. Next time, here we go. Oh, it's got a bit of a tang, kind of like little spicy aftertaste, but nice. I'm not a bit cranky, at least not now.
I'm getting less cranky by the minute.
Yes, absolutely. 9.5%.
Speaking of cranky, Mark, what are you drinking?
Well, you guys, it's LaCroix, passion fruit, naturally essence, sparkling water. It has a bunch of zeros on it. And I don't drink alcohol because I'm Amish, as you can tell by my hair, Joe. Here it is, baby.
He just said he doesn't drink alcohol. First false stat of the evening, Clay.
First, there you go. He doesn't drink anymore. He doesn't drink any less
It didn't
either.
take long.
Clay,
Fake
how about
stat
you?
for sure.
What are you partaking of?
I've got the old 10, 2, and 4 tonight.
10, 2, and 4.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper.
Old Dr. Pepper, yeah. So just a little.
10, 2, and 4.
If you drink it 3 times a day like that, how many grams of sugar are you getting?
Yeah.
All of them.
One bag.
Every single one of them.
About a pound. Yeah.
All of them. Yeah. I mean, the sugar on these is somewhere in the neighborhood of like 28 grams for a
Okay.
for a 12 ounce, I think.
Okay.
But I'm trying to read.
I'll take the
can
over.
right now. I'm in the dark right now, so I can't read this can.
All
very
right.
well.
You're in the
I
dark.
I like to go dark. I can't see it. I'm
Take
pretty
your
sure this
time.
is like 28 grams. No, 30 grams. 30 grams
30.
for a
All right,
12
there you go.
ounce. So
Okay, guys.
90 grams. And
So-
I weigh 230 pounds, so what's 90 grams?
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not worried
It's
about it.
much of nothing.
Yeah.
Much of nothing.
Yeah,
So let's lift our glass, our honor
Yeah.
group of the week, which is North Alabama Foosball. Cheers, guys. North Alabama
And my
Foosball.
daughters
And-
have turned 8 today.
And your daughter turned 8 today.
Daughters. He has 2 of them. They
Yes.
both turned 8 today. Coincidentally. What a coincidence.
Are they twins?
Hmm.
And
Once
come on,
again,
Mark.
Yes, Watson. Brilliant deduction.
Your powers of
What are your
deduction
what are your
mind-boggling.
daughter's
Hey,
names?
wait a second. My kid, Mark, that's not fair. My kids are born on the same day too, but 5 years apart.
Whoa, that's freaky. My kids are born on 2 different days in 2 different years. Here's the North Alabama foosball, and we've got some good friends down there. Obviously,
Oh yeah.
our guest tonight, great foosball man down there in the Huntsville area, Dale Oberhausen, as well, and Rodney Jenkins, great Alabama promoter and foosball player. Mark, I think you may remember him.
Good pull
And
shot.
so
Good pull
a lot of great. You know who else is from North Alabama? Dave Currington is from
Oh.
Northern Alabama originally. Yeah.
Very cool.
There you go.
Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah. Nonetheless, great place to if you're going through Huntsville, Alabama. The North Alabama foosball guys are right there. So very cool.
Famous for the space program. It's all about the space program in Huntsville.
Cheers to that.
Yeah. Cheers to space.
Let's here's the next rocket ride. Okay. So, so tonight we're talking to Cindy Head. She truly is remarkable as far as her record is concerned. I think we're going to have some great fun talking to Cindy. I think before we get on to that and our top 5 this evening, the top 5 most athletic players coming up shortly here. But of course, we have to look back in time.
With great moments in foosball history, this is a FoosTalk Live Flashback.
Here she is again now, Cindy Head, setting it up in a pole shot position. Looking over the defense, Cindy Head strokes the long, and for the 8th consecutive year, Cindy Head of Birmingham, Alabama, is the Tornado World Champion.
It's amazing, Jim. I'll tell you, she just can't be beat.
Impressive performance once again by Cindy Head, winning the championship in 2 consecutive games.
Listen in next time for another great moment in foosball history. It's FoosTalk Live Flashback.
Wow, terrific piece of flashback there. Of course, Cindy, unstoppable back in those days, and still is actually. So, what do you remember about that night?
That was from the 94 World Championships, which I believe you were there, Mark, as well. That was her 8th straight Tornado World Championship. It started back in 87. But the streak actually goes back more than that. In 1987, they had a World Championship, a USTSA World Championship that had both Dynamo and Tornado. Well, she won Dynamo women's singles and Tornado women's singles that year. That was her first Tornado win, but she had been a Dynamo player previous to that. And she had won the women's singles world championship in 86. She had won in 84 and in 82 as well. 85, she got beat by Tina Roton in the final. And then she went on and won 5 or 6 more world championships even beyond that. Just an amazing, amazing player. And during that same time period, I have the numbers in front of me here, but I can't count them up quick enough. But she also won, I think, 10 women's doubles world championships in a row as well. Just crazy good. I mean, the most decorated. Anyone who saw foosball or saw the end with all those championships, remarkable. The most decorated player in American table soccer history for sure. So.
Yeah. No, I know that one of the things that I didn't figure out about foosballers immediately until somebody revealed it was at the end they showed all the different players featured in the movie standing in a specific way. And with all their awards around them. Of course, she had more than like everybody except for I think Todd, and she had
more than Todd. She actually had more than anyone.
Yeah, more than Todd, and they're all standing there in a specific way with their arms at their sides, like they were actually foosball players. Foosball, and I didn't get that until somebody told me later on. I'm thinking Joe Hestinga, what a smart guy. That was
a smart guy.
What a brilliant way to do that. Very cool stuff. And man, I'm really looking forward to the interview tonight. I think we'll have lots of fun with that.
Yeah,
but of course, before we do that, you guys have to bear down here and give us your top 5 most athletic players.
Time once again for the FoosTalk Live Top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here's Jim Stevens and Mark Torres.
I love these top 5s, Mark. There's so much wiggle room here. We can do whatever we want on this one. What does athletic really mean, et cetera? And I'm kind of looking forward to this. It occurred to me the other day, let's do this. I talk about it on the air all the time. Boy, this guy's really athletic or whatever. So let's break it down. Let's have some fun with who we think are the most athletic players. Well, I don't know what your take was on it. I have a pretty specific one with some variations. But what was your take on this one?
I blur the lines all the time when I can. You and I have the advantage of being around the game long enough to see super talented physical players from all around the country. They're actually a dime a dozen. They're a dime a dozen. These guys, you can find one in any zip code. You could find a guy who could do a slingshot on both sides of the table with a heartbeat, and the reverses, and the dead bar pull shot from the 2-bar. They're a dime a dozen. They're everywhere, and they come and go. They fly by night, but a very small percentage of them actually win tournaments.
Yeah,
So,
they're like guys on the New York City playground, right? Who are just can slam dunk backwards, but will never play in the NBA, right? These guys.
They're everywhere. So it was kind of fun for me. I had huge problems with my number 5, but after that, you get some usual suspects, and I blur the lines because there are guys with physical ability. But for me, the athleticism also had to combine the mental piece too.
Wow.
I only have one exception to that, and I'll get to that as soon as we get started.
I'm really intrigued now, man.
Yeah.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number.
So first, with my number 5, I want to rotate through the 4 guys that were in and out of there in the last hour. My number 5 rotated. The guys that rotated in and out, Kenny Allwell rotated out of my top 5 from number 5. Evan Stachulek rotated out of my top 5. Trevor Park rotated out of my top 5. People don't know Trevor Park's full physical ability. Yeah. Larry Chesborough rotated out of my top 5.
You love Ches.
Well, because I watched him play, and I know the guy. I mean, the guy is the super ability means nothing to me if you can't win with it. It doesn't mean anything to me. But I do have one exception to that rule. He's probably the greatest physical specimen in foosball that never won an open singles or open doubles title. He was in the finals so many times, a double dipped 3rd place. But this is a guy that I've known since childhood, and he can do anything on a foosball table. As a matter of fact, he can do anything after you show him one time, and heaven forbid you let him practice for a day. You let him practice anything for a day, he'll have the best one. Superhuman ability on the foosball table. So it was in 1989, we went to San Bernardino together as rookies. And he was a rookie, even though he had already won 2 novice events, which in the late 80s and the 90s, winning novice events was as hard as winning open singles events. Because you had rookies, amateurs, and novices. You had hundreds of them, and some of them, the point system was all jacked. So you had TS pros playing. So novice events were incredibly difficult to win. There was a bunch of us that were rookies becoming novices. We were all playing against each other. Robert Mars, Terry Moore, Tommy Atkinson, just a ton of us. They're all Hall of Famers now. Lewis Cartwright. We're all rookies and amateurs. There was a dominant novice. His name was Fernando Rosa. And he could. We go to 89 San Bernardino. He beats Todd Lafredo in open singles. And Todd Lafredo was in his prime. It's like 89. He beats Todd Lafredo. Todd Lafredo says on that day, this could be one of the greatest players of all time. It doesn't play out that way. He ends up being one of the greatest foosball athletes all time, but he's not one of the greatest players. I will just say that having grown up with him and seeing what he can do and what he did, he's been in multiple finals. He's won open mixed at the Worlds, by the way. But he is an incredible athletic specimen. He didn't get over the hump. So he's my one player on this team that doesn't show the winning at open singles and open doubles. But as far as athletes go, he's a supreme foosball athlete.
Yeah, no, I do. Tremendous athlete. And, I kind of equate it to other sports where there's these great natural athletes who don't necessarily develop the work ethic or don't work as hard on their game on both the mental and the mental side of it. Right. They rely so much on their natural ability, and maybe he falls into that class a little bit. And there certainly have been cases in every sport of that sort of thing. And so, no, and I knew you'd have him on your list. I knew you would. But my number 5, and again, I'm blurring some lines and I'm having some fun, and I can do whatever the heck I want with this, right?
Right, for sure.
So my number 5 is a tie with 3 players. All right, I've got Ryan Moore, Tony Spreadman, and Frederick Collignon tied for 5th. Okay, because my top 5 is just a lot more fun and less predictable without these guys in it. All right. I just don't want them in there. I put him at 5. Let's get him out of the way. Any one of them could be number 1. I mean, that's how good they are. Ryan's like this big, strong tight end, right? Who is fast. He's powerful. He's got this length that he puts his. I mean, just incredible power and speed to this guy. Tony, quickness is off the charts for Tony. Incredibly athletic with the specific things that he likes to do. Catches loose balls maybe better than anybody ever has, which I think is a great sign of a very athletic player. And also, if you've ever seen Tony, and maybe at Texas State, if you're there, you'll see this. There's that pop-a-shot game that you try to make as many as you can in a short time. I'm actually pretty good at this. Well, last year, the year before, I guess the year before, I faced Tony in this, and he was just amazing, just incredible at this. He's also great at skee ball, right? So just a tremendous athlete. Fred, an artist. He's like one of these elite, smooth, effortless, not super powerful, but just so much finesse. Just his game is absolutely sublime. So I've got Ryan Moore, Tony Spraderman, Frederick Collignon. Let's get him on the list, but let's get him out of the way while we have a little bit of fun with the rest of the list. They're my number 5 in a tie.
I admire your technique there. That certainly works for me.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 4.
If there's anything I love about this is there's no rules. Like you have 3 people. I remember you have 8 people now. You realize that, right, Jim? So 7, I guess. I don't know. All right. I do have Ryan Moore at number 4. Ryan Moore is a physical specimen. When you've been playing since childhood, we talk about these second-generation Foosers. They learn technique appropriately almost from day one. They learn setting the ball up. They learn the positions. And as Ryan just got taller and taller, he just got more ferocious with his power. Yeah. He has great speed, but he's not in my top 3 because there's people that have way better lateral speed than Ryan. It's deceptive because he gets so far behind the ball. He gets so much leverage because he's so tall and he's so used to crushing the ball. He hits the ball with blinding power. But if you really look at it, Billy's lateral speed, Todd's lateral speed is faster than Ryan. That being said, Ryan is an incredible physical beast on the foosball table. The things he does, he can hit, and when at the master level, he can hit a hole at the master level faster than you can close it. That's an incredible ability to read and react to a hole. It's one thing when you do it to experts and you do it to amateurs. At the master level, someone can anticipate you. Someone can anticipate Ryan. He can still get there before you. So it's almost negligible sometimes, but there's that little hair. Anyway, I got Ryan at number 4, incredible athlete.
Yeah, and like you said, at the master level, he faces other really good athletic players, right? And he out athleticisms them, if that's a phrase. It is from now on. He's remarkable. The things he does on the table, sometimes you can't believe what you just saw. I'm going to go off the grid a little bit here with my number 4, and maybe Mark, I know you know this guy, but maybe you haven't seen him a whole lot. But to watch this guy on every table around the world, everyone, including Tornado, and the guy I'm talking about is Jamal Alalou. Of course, Jamal, I first met him when he came here and played on Tornado, and he was pretty good. He would get frustrated and bang his head on the table a time or two to draw blood even. But he was a competitor, and he was really good on Tornado, really good with a pin series, really strong. And then I went to Europe. I started covering events in Europe and got to see him on all these other tables. And on every other table, he's a threat to win singles unless Fred is there. And then he's probably taking second. On Bonzini, gosh, everything's so effortless. Everything's so strong. He may have the strongest wrists of anyone I've ever seen play foosball. Catches everything. It's all just so natural. And meanwhile, he is showing his disdain for everything to the crowd and the opponent and the referees and he's just doing all of this. But meanwhile, the stuff on the table is like unbelievable. It's like it's a man among boys in most matches, and he beats himself a lot, which is he could have won a lot more. We're talking about a guy. Absolutely, maybe the second greatest European player of all time. Maybe, Robert Atha. No offense, you're right there as well. But this guy, incredibly athletic. And on Bonzini, where you really see it, where he catches these balls, which on Bonzini, you can't catch that ball. And he does these things and he gets it and he just effortlessly slams his dead man near side pin shot. Just remarkable athleticism. We never got a chance to see it as much maybe as we could have on Tornado, where he's still really good. But on every other table, this dude, off the charts athletic. My number 4, out of Germany, Jamal Alalou.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 3.
Yeah, at my number 3, I got Federico. And I got Federico mostly, because his hand speed is unreal. You ask fast players who the fastest player in foosball is or ever was, and a guy like Billy will tell you it's Fred, hands down. The guy can race your passes. He can race your pull shot. I'm not sure if there's a pull shot he can't race. He's the only guy I know that could race masters and win tournaments racing masters. So the hand speed is one thing. The endurance is the other thing. In mortal foosball players would have got double dipped in situations that Federico is in. The mortals would have got double dipped. He doesn't get double dipped. Very, very rarely, if ever, does that guy ever get double dipped. It's in, I don't know. I don't want to make up stats. I just say that it's if it happens, it's like a unicorn. So endurance, hand speed. I've seen that guy shoot dead bar pull shots, fast, hard, set up the 2-bar against the wall and shoot dead bar pull shots. Is unreal. The read and react as far as hand-eye coordination. And there's I'm doing it again, you guys. I'm going to punish myself. Frederic, that's my number 3.
Yeah, that's a great choice, of course. And I had him in my top 5.
Yeah.
Right. And you talked about it. Obviously the athleticism, what he can do, the catches, and the ability to smoothly pass the ball. But when you see him play goalie, and when you see him race guys, he played at the Hall of Fame Classic. He played an entire event at the goalie position with Todd Lafredo, and they did not lose a game. He did not give up more than 3 goals in a game. And he was racing just about everybody. I saw a match one time at the World Championships when poor Tom York, sorry, Tom, probably had 20 shots against him, and Fred was just dead racing him and blocked every one of them to Tom's great frustration. Tom did come back at a later date, made some adjustments, and did score well on him. But for that one stretch, Fred was just remarkably fast. And the endurance part, remember, Fred is playing, I remember Tornado Worlds where he would play 8 or 10 events in a weekend, right? Yeah, playing all the open stuff, forward shootout, goalie war.
Thursday, draw your partner.
Everything, right? And he'd win 6, 7, 8 of them. But think about how many matches that is when you're playing that many events and going that deep into them, right? But somehow this guy could just keep doing it, still have it on a Sunday night. So that's a great choice. My number 3, Todd Lafredo, who really, I guess, was kind of the first great foosball athlete, right? I mean, Lafredo, the pull shot, so fast, so smooth, just so pure, really, right? And then, of course, all the different things he's developed over the years, different kinds of shots he can shoot, the ability to play goalie, the ability to catch loose balls at an incredible rate, to catch at goalie, to contain the ball in that goalie area. The pull shot, obviously, just so powerful, but he's also got a good pull kick and push kick and pin series and everything else. Just for me, that was the guy. You had your great stars in the 70s, your Tom Spear, your Doug Furry, your Jim Wiswell, Kaiser, Martin, Allwell, etc. And I do want to get to my honorable mentions after this as well. But Lafredo was the guy who kind of took it to another level in terms of lateral speed and power and depth of shot. So any list of great athletes certainly has to include Todd Lafredo, and I've got him as my number 3.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 2.
My number 2. So there's a great video of Tiger Woods on a TV show called That's Incredible. He's wearing diapers. It's like 82 or something crazy. He's wearing diapers. His dad, Eldritch, brings him out, and he's shooting he's hitting balls with a driver. He's like 2.5 years old. And what that evolves into later when he's in his golf prime is the perfect stroke. It's perfect. It's it is the confluence or the intersection of absolute will and power and authority and physical, subconscious, cellular level ability. And we got a guy like that. His name is Billy Pappas. That's my number 2. No one has that guy's lateral speed and power. No one can do the things that guy can do when he is focused and practiced. He can do things that no one else can do. You can find video of him shooting dead bar 2 shots from his 2-bar. He just sets up the bar. He puts up the man. He shoots 3. He shows you the dead bar. He shoots 3 in a row like nothing. He just walks up to the table, shoots 3 in a row, and walk away. And they're faster than any dead bar pull shot I've ever shot from the 3-bar. And when I was a young man, I wasn't slow, but I can't do what he did. No one can. So you see, if you don't know if you've ever seen his bump push kick on the fly, his bump push kick is obscene. So Billy Pappas is what Billy Pappas takes what Fernando was, and he takes it to outer space. He can do anything, and hands down, lateral speed. He's got all these guys' number. Billy Pappas is my number 2.
Yeah, you make a great point about the Tiger. A good one. And Tiger, the thing about Tiger, he started playing when he was 2 or 3. He was literally in diapers, right? And it's the amount of course time, I guess you'd say, for him, but it's the amount of table time for a lot of these other guys, including Sprademan, including Moore and others. And I think that contributed certainly to Billy's greatness and athleticism. My number 2, though, I'm going with our guest tonight, Cindy Head.
Mm-hmm.
Cindy, obviously there's a lot of reasons why she has been so successful in the biggest tournaments in the world. But the thing is, among the lady players, she is a good 40% better than most in terms of athleticism of her opponents that she plays in those. So she catches everything. She just seems to be one step ahead in terms of speed and with power at every rod. I've seen her certainly perform really, really well against male players and have great success there as well. But that's the thing. You watch her on the table, and it's just like the ball handling, the passing, the shooting, all so very athletic, and so much more so than her opponents, and you can make a strong case that she's the greatest foosball athlete of all time just because of how much better she was. And I'm in my honorable mentions, I'm going to bring up another lady with maybe a similar type of athleticism. But for me, our guest tonight, it's not just because she's our guest tonight. Maybe I came up with this category because she was our guest tonight. But for me, number 2, the great Cindy Head.
Well said.
Real quick, Jim, can you turn on your video?
FoosTalk Live proudly presents the top 5. Number 1.
Well, Jim already. My number 1 is me. No, it's not. It should always be me, but it's not. My number 1 is someone Jim already called out. But when you've done it for decades, when you've won in every era, Todd's pull shot right now is better than 90% of the pull shots out there, and he's 60 years old.
95 at least, yeah.
Yeah, his pull shot is laterally and with power at 60 plus years old.
Yep.
You don't even know unless you were sitting there watching, and there is some video of like 90 and 92, whatever it is. But you had to see him. You had to see what Todd can do. Todd would play in third gear and crush people, and he would save it. He wouldn't blow. He was not dumb. He would save his arm. So you'd see him drill masters with his pull shot, and he didn't have the greatest 5-bar, but he's so athletic. For lack of a better description, he'll get the ball. He'll get by you. He'll do things. He's very, very clever, but he gets the ball in his 3-bar. That right, there's never been a bionic right arm like that. And so he toys with people through the first 3 or 4 rounds. He'll do what he needs to do to win the winner's bracket, and then he unloaded on you in the finals. He just like put you out of your misery. Like, he didn't even mess around. It goes back to the whole, we talk about athleticism. He wouldn't eat, right? He'd fast. So he hasn't eaten in 3 days, and he's got steam coming out of his ears, and he's turned into an adrenaline animal and wipe the floor with you. Just wipe the floor with you. Like, anytime he needed that 3-bar to come through, it came through every single time. So because he did it for decades, and I like to go back this too, when you watch foosballers, here's a guy, I don't know when he's the last time in the finals of open singles, and he breaks out his pencil and his protractor, and now he's drawing on the table, and he's plotting and planning because he's got the documentary following him around. Todd's going to get in the finals of open singles at the Worlds. He gets right past Ryan, and now he's going, and he doesn't have it. It's the tired stallion loses to the young stud Tony Spredeman, but just a remarkable athlete, apex predator to the bone. And still doing it at 60. So Todd Lafredo's my number 1.
Yeah, no, Lafredo's amazing, and he's done it at both positions. First half of his career, he was one of the great forwards in the game. Second half, the greatest maybe goalie ever. And so the versatility is there as well. In singles, he can beat you in so many different ways. No question about it. But for me, there isn't any question in my mind who the greatest athlete ever, and it's Billy Pappas. I mean, the things Billy can do. Billy can do everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. If you want a pin series, why not? That's maybe its 7th option. It's still pretty good. The snake shot, obviously the lateral speed and power is just when you hear him score a shot across the room, you know it's him, right? You talked about his pull shot. How often has he shot a pull shot in a match, in a tournament? Not very many times, but he could, and he could win with it, right? It's that good. The shooting from goalie, the catching of the loose balls, the creativity, but it's, when you're talking athletes, you're talking quickness, you're talking speed, which are two different things. You're talking power, you're talking reactions, and Billy has all of those at the very highest level. Again, the table time is there. He's been playing since he was in low single digits, but it's just how all of that developed, and to a point where even now, when you watch him play, he's obviously a very smart player, very calculating. But and we're talking on every table. This is a guy who has competed at the Bonzini World Championships at the highest level. He has won the Garlando World Championships. He's never lost a match for Team USA. Multiple World Championships on Tornado. Always competitive, no matter what table it is, in multi-table competition. The guy, and it doesn't take him long. He'll play on a table for the first time. I've seen this. He'll play for the first time on a brand new ITSF official table. He'll pick it up in minutes. And he'll be able to do his thing in minutes. You mentioned his push kick, his bump kick. Man, it's good. I mean, and off the fly, suddenly it's there, suddenly it's gone. It's in the back of the goal, and you hear it. Well, so for me, when we're talking athletes, when we're talking foosball, as great as all these others are, and they are, and there's a bunch of others, and I do want to go over my honorable mention list as well. But number one for me, it's got to be Billy.
Let me just add something to Billy. I played with him, right? I played with him. He could hit a shot from his 2-bar that no one, including him, knows where it went. He asked him where to go. He doesn't know. He's not even sure. Nobody knows.
It went in.
We are master players that have been around the game for decades, and the ball vanishes into thin air, and no one is sure which hole it hit. It was a split or went around, probably split, but we're not sure. Maybe cut back. Don't know. That's how magical that guy's skills are. It's really amazing.
Really is. Let me eliminate a few of my honorable mentions. Blake Robertson, one of the current doubles world championship ITSF, super quick, can do almost anything on a table. Robert Atha as well. What can't he do? Johnny Horton, such great quickness and seemed to always be a step ahead of people. You mentioned Trevor Park, of course. Lewis Cartwright, always a little underrated, because you look at Lewis, you say that's not an athlete. And then you watch him play foosball and you say maybe it is.
No, it's not an athlete, something else.
You said, and you mentioned Ken Allwell, right? And Kenny was one of my first idols as a player. But everything that guy does, including when he plays darts, when he plays pool, when he plays basketball, everything is like smooth and so elite athletic. And then I want to get to we talk about Cindy Head being the greatest lady player of all time, and she is. And in 2006, and we're going to talk to her about this a little later on, she won the multi-table world championship over in Italy. And in the semifinals, she beat a woman named Samantha DePaulo, who I believe is the greatest European lady player of all time. But when you watch Samantha and it's all pin series, everything's pin series on all these different tables, not a great tornado player, but on all the other European tables, she was better than 97% of the men on these tables. So smooth and powerful, and just, I don't ever want to use the term man-like, but in many ways she was at least as athletic as most of the men. So Samantha DePaulo out of Switzerland would be on my list as well.
Guys, I'm making an observation here. I remember, it was probably 7-8 months ago when you did the top 5 smartest players. And there's a lot of similarities between these lists, between the two of you, I just noticed. Smartest and most athletic. You would think that would be there would be a lot of differences, but all of a sudden there wasn't, I noticed. Or am I off on that?
Maybe you're right. I have to look. I know that some of these names are repetitive from other lists, because we get into stuff like, best 2-bars or things like that. There's going to be some crossover. I wouldn't have put. Yeah, there's probably a couple people that wouldn't be on my list for smartest that were on the list today. But I don't know.
No,
I'd have to look at the
Can we
list,
talk
yeah.
about
But-
the top 5 not smart players in all of foosball? Is that,
Well, that's our next for next week. For next
week,
week,
okay.
for sure.
I might make the list.
But here's the thing. Mark and I tend to focus on the elite players, right? And to be a truly elite,
Mhm.
all-time great, Hall of Fame, world champion, you got to be both.
Yeah.
You have to be give me a non-great athlete who is also a champion, a Hall of Famer, a multiple world champion, and it's hard to find those. You got to have the accommodation of both, and I think that's kind of why we have this crossover.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean Todd and Fred and Cindy, all certainly in that category of really smart players, really smart.
Yep.
But also very athletic.
Yeah.
Wow.
All
Very
right,
cool.
way to call us out on it, though, Tom. way to call us out.
You
Put
guys
us on
are,
the spot.
I gotta keep you honest. Clay does it too. I'm not the only one. But
I enjoy it though. You do it because it needs to be done. I do it because I love the way it feels.
You're a sportsman. That's what that's all about. You're a sportsman. So hey, it is an absolute it's amazing because we've gone through this entire last year and had an absolute blast doing everything we've done so far on FoosTalk Live. Talked to a lot of really cool people. A lot of memorable names have graced the airwaves of Inside Foos, and of course now FoosTalk Live. But I have to say, I'm a bit starstruck about tonight. I do have to say, because this is one of the greatest players of all time, if not. I think there's a lot of argument about this, but she is certainly the greatest most winning American player of all time.
Yeah.
And we are so excited and so thrilled to welcome from Alabama, it's Cindy Head. Cindy, welcome to FoosTalk Live.
Hi guys, thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be here talking with you guys.
Well, it's mighty nice of you to join us. I mean, it's high time, of course. So Cindy, are you in Alabama this evening?
No, I've been in Colorado for about year and a half, well, maybe almost 2 years now.
Oh, gotcha. Mm-hmm. Okay. So how far are you from Jim's neighborhood?
I'm about 30 minutes outside of Denver.
Gotcha.
So how far is that, Jim?
Oh, it's about 6 hours from where I live down in Durango. But I believe you were in Larkspur for a while there. Are you south of Denver? Is that where you are now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
About the Castle Rock area.
Okay. Yeah. My sister-in-law lives in Castle Rock. We're there quite often. We'll have to check in. But no, it's great to hear your voice. It's great to talk to you here on FoosTalk Live and kind of reflect on your amazing career and kind of touch base with where you are these days. And of course, I know Mark Torres, who's with us here tonight, Tom Robinson as well. And we're really thrilled, as Tom said, to have you on tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. And I wanted to give you a shout out on congratulations on your 1 year anniversary that just passed. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks.
So kudos to you guys for all that you do for us players.
Let's say it's people like yourself that make it worthwhile for us and make it so much fun, and we're so thrilled to have you. So it's tradition, of course, here to talk to you about the distant past, if you don't mind. Of course, a lot of us already know your story from Foosballers, the movie. So congratulations on your film, because I have to say that if Foosballers, the movie, had been just about your story, it would have been just as thrilling. It was such an accomplishment. So how did that feel, by the way, getting selected for that film?
Well, I turned it down 3 times.
Turned it down 3 times?
I did.
Really?
I didn't know that.
I have had many interviews where the story just turned out to be so cheesy, and it just, did injustice to our sport.
Right.
And I just wasn't up for that again. But after meeting Joe and sitting down and talking with him, I knew that he had our sport. It was in his heart to do a good job, and I felt good about him. And I said, okay, I'll do it. So, and I'm glad I did, because he did an amazing job.
Yes.
And he got to the heart of the sport and to the heart of the players. And I am very honored to have been in his film.
Yeah, no question. I love the footage of you as a police officer. By the way, thank you for your service.
You're very welcome. Unfortunately, our department, we had a new chief there after I retired.
Okay.
And he was afraid of liability. So there were so many things I could have shown about our department. And
Right.
like I was able to show the beat that I worked on. It was a civil rights district downtown. We walked around and showed that area, but because of liability, he wouldn't let me go on TV and show all the things that I did, and wouldn't let the other officers come on. So that was kind of disappointing because I really wanted people to see what I did as a living and how much I loved being an officer.
Sure.
Because I miss it every day. And so I hate that he wouldn't let that part come out.
Well, it is. It's terrific. Really terrific.
Cindy,
stuff.
what they did show was plenty for everyone to ingratiate themselves to the level of service you did to your community. It was I don't feel like I missed anything and still felt the weight of your experience and your commitment to your community. So I thought it was wonderful in spite of what you may have felt was missed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
It's tasteful.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was really one of the, I was watching the movie. I went out to the premiere in Los Angeles and had family members there and non-foosball people, and they absolutely thought that was the best part of the movie. Many of them taken to tears during that, and it was just a really, I thought you were wonderful, and of course Joe did such a great job with this movie, and so again, just a great film, and you were a big part of it.
Well, thank you. I think the part that was hardest for me about not showing me as a police officer was the part of my brother being an officer, and that we worked together, and the way that we became officers to serve and to help people. And I think it hurt my heart more that I wasn't able to, show that part of him being such a good officer.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so now we kind of need to go back. I know you've probably repeated this so many times, but your earliest days. And forgive me if I've forgotten the name of the place where you used to go when you were young, before you really became the Cindy Head we all know. The arcade. Somewhere Else? Is that what it was called?
No, it was called Someplace Else.
Someplace Else. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
And I was just a small child. I literally had to stand on, I don't remember if it was milk crates or whatever it was, but I was pretty small for my age. I was probably, I don't know, 10 or so, but
10.
And I would have to stand on those boxes to play, but I had a blast. It was a lot of fun.
And was it there's something that caught your eye about foosball itself? I mean, maybe you saw the table and didn't know what it was the first time?
I remember the first time I actually saw a table. It was actually at a place called Angry Revolt.
Okay.
Which was down the street. But I was smaller, and I really had no clue what that table was. And I remember going in and looking at it and thinking, that's weird. Then I left and went out the door. And then about 2 years later, I saw the foosball at the Someplace Else, and that's when I started trying to learn how to play.
Yeah, Someplace Else. So was there a moment that you remember where you decided, I'm addicted to this and I just can't stop playing?
I think I loved it. It was an outlet for me to go play foosball. It was a way for me to go and relax and, compete and just have fun and not worry about anything. So foosball at first was just an outlet for me and a good place to go.
And what kind of tables were there? Do you remember the name of the table?
Yeah, give me 1 second. It was a horrible table. It was called Vulcan. It was a Vulcan table.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
And do you remember the first time you actually decided to compete? And where was that? And was it a national or regional tournament?
I can remember the first time I decided I was going to be good. It's when that I was going to be good at this sport, no matter what it cost me. It's when those 3 guys came in and told me, not this time, honey. We need somebody a little bit better.
Right.
And it just crushed my heart. I remember going home and just with tears in my eyes. And I was thinking, Mister, one day you're not going to be able to say that to me, and I'm going to be able to beat you. And after that, I was determined to learn how to play. And I was very fortunate because in the area where I played, it was called Woodlawn, and we would have local tournaments, and one weekend it would be at our place, another weekend it would be in Tuscaloosa, another weekend it would be in Cobble Heights.
Right.
So there was so many tournaments, And the guys were very gracious. They would let me play, and they would let me, try to learn, and they would try to teach me stuff. And then it got to where I was good enough to where they weren't telling me stuff anymore. I had to learn it on my own.
You became a threat. That was the problem.
Yeah, but I had a blast, and I have so many male friends over the years that I wouldn't trade anything for the friendships and the people I have met over the years.
Yes.
I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I've discovered since getting back into this in 2011 how much of a family there really is when it comes to foosball, and it's universal.
Yes, it is. There's so much love, among us. And there's something I wanted to say to Jim, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Jim, I wanted to thank you, and I'm sure this is from every player around the world that has ever touched a handle. For the video over the years, you have captured some of the most precious moments in people's lives that have spent countless hours of blood, sweat, and tears to learn how to play this game and to become the best. And you have captured it on video, because in the heat of the moment, sometimes I can't remember what I did to win an important match because I'm so focused and I'm so set on whatever that person is that I need to fix or change or whatever it takes to get that ball in. And you have so many precious moments captured on video that we can go back and look in that you'll never understand how important that is to people. So thank you for what you've done over the years.
Thank you, Cindy. That's very kind. Thank you.
Well, you know what, Cindy? I'm gonna counter that. You should be thanking me for being there drunk sometimes.
No, you should
to ruin those moments.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, thank you also.
No, seriously, I gotta say this. I've been watching you since '89, right? Cindy, if I could be honest, in the early '90s, I had a massive crush on you. I just follow you around like a puppy dog. I swear to God, that's true. I had a massive crush on Cindy Head, like the early '90s. I'm like, Cindy Head.
Wow.
That's so sweet.
Anyway,
to watch a match. That is so sweet.
But you should know that you've delivered those moments to us to record, and I can clearly remember you over the decades watching you playing some young lady, and it was always a test of character. It was a test of will. For the 99% of the time, the first time Cindy Head plays another woman player, I can assure you that woman player lost. The first time they played Cindy Head, they lost, and they had to. And Cindy would score a point, throw the rod, give her the yeah and the fist pump, and then she would look up. She would look up, and if that poor young lady's eyes were diverted, or she was basically if her will was being broken by Cindy, that match was over. It was over every single time. But it was because of you, Cindy, that so many great players learned to rise up and to fight back. And I'm sure nothing pleased you more than seeing the competitive fire return back at you and help you. I believe you helped develop so many female players to have a stronger character and to be more competitive and face fear. And that was because you were so strong-willed on the table. I don't think you ever wanted to lose ever, not one point, not ever. But in being so self-determined, a lot of women and men players learn that character building from those character building moments. So we owe you that gratitude in return.
Oh, thank you so much. That comment you just made, I know people probably don't believe this, but this is the God's honest truth. When I'm yelling and I am, doing the things that I do, it is not to intimidate the other player. It's to keep me pumped up. I have to have a drive. I have to feel like every point I do, everything I do, that I have to be fired up, and I have to be able to continue to do that, or to do it better the next point, or to rise my game each time. And that is more to keep me pumped up and keep me fired up. And yes, it probably does mess with some other female players' head, but that really is not my intention. And again, everybody has their own opinion, but just for me, I'm telling you how that is for me.
I think I played. Before we get on to somebody else, I'm sure has a question. I played you in like 05, and you drilled me. You absolutely drilled me. I can't remember what the hell. I was so bothered by it. But you were doing your thing, and whether it's to fire yourself up, you can't help it. But the other, it's a moment for the other person to be introspective and understand if this stress is getting to them, and if they could fight through it. That's just how it operates. So it's always very welcome for me to see that kind of energy on the table.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think she raised the bar when it comes to competitiveness for sure. Hey, Mark, after that 05 match, when she beat you so badly, did you still have a crush on her after that?
No. Right there.
So Cindy, you start playing, and I believe it was late 70s when you first started. Was it the Dynamo table that was predominantly the tournament table down in Alabama at that time? Yeah, I don't think you played a lot of TS, did you?
I did not. I did not like TS, and this is just my opinion, but I felt like that table was a piece of junk. I did like to play on that table, but you have to remember, I'm just a young kid, and I'm just doing things to have fun, and to me, playing on that table wasn't fun.
Yeah.
But in '76, myself and Leo Quinn won a mixed doubles in Atlanta on the Dynamo tour. And I believe we played Lynn LaFleur and Debbie Rosen. And I think that's how you say her name. Is it Rosen? I'm not sure how you say it.
If it's one S, it's Rosen. Yes.
So, and I never played anything but front, and we beat them. And they were killing everybody. And we beat them, and I think I was 16 when that happened.
Wow.
We never played anything but front on that match. So Dynamo was the main table I played on. I think my first tour tournament that I went to on the TS was in the Chicago one. And I had to play Lori and Carrie in doubles, and I had to play Carrie in singles. And that was my first big tournament I went to.
How'd you do? So Lori Schranz and Carrie Wiggins, right?
Carrie Crowell.
Oh,
Yes.
Crowell.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I won doubles and singles.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think Mike Green actually told me a story about that. He was there watching it. Yeah, you may call in tonight and tell that story. So I'm gonna wait on that. But but then the Dynamo table kind of, obviously tournament soccer crashed in '81,
right?
Which may be the year you're talking about when you were there.
The year, yes.
Yeah. And then in '82, the new Dynamo tour kind of started, and you immediately won both women's doubles, women's singles at that World Championship, and that sort of started a run for you. That first 4 or 5 years on Dynamo, and then you switched over to Tornado. In fact, I talked about it earlier. In '87, you won both Dynamo women's singles and Tornado women's singles at the World Championships, and then you started that incredible run of singles titles on Tornado, doubles titles on Tornado as well. I mean, the numbers they speak for themselves, and what a period of dominance. I'm not sure anyone in the history of foosball, maybe even Frederick Collignon, can show that kind of dominance on the table. But talk about those early years on Dynamo. Obviously, Tina was a big opponent as well of yours. I think she beat you in '85 in the women's singles final. And talk a little bit, I guess, about your rivalry with her maybe over those few years when you two were such great players, such great competitors.
Yes, we were. Tina did not like me for many years there. And then later
she
on,
was a competitor.
We
Yeah.
became really good friends, and we actually played together in a couple of them. She was a very tough competitor, very smart, very physical. Also, she could play front, forward, goalie. She was a very hard opponent to beat. She when she would play, you would not see her emotions, so you would not be able to read her and see what was getting to her or what she didn't like. Some players you can read, and like you can shoot a certain shot against someone and you can tell that shot is not something that they're very strong in, or you can do a pass and you can see that certain pass is weak on their defense style. So, but Tina was very hard to read. She was just stellar. She was solid front and back.
So that leads to a good question. We've asked this of other pros at your level. Did you study people before you played them?
No.
No. Really? So you didn't take time to
watch a game or two.
Okay.
But I would never follow them around and watch them.
Huh.
I didn't want to I'm backwards from everybody else. I didn't want to get a preconceived idea in my head of what I needed to do.
Right.
I'm more of a
I lost you, Cindy. Or is it
I
me?
think
Am I
did cut
frozen?
out. No, it went. I think we lost signal from her. So we give her a second. Hopefully it wasn't her battery dying.
It's
I think
cool
she
if you're
said she had a
listening. I didn't
full-
know on the Twitch you could watch Cindy playing against somebody in is it ITSF or World Cup?
Yeah, this
on
is the 2006 ITS World Championships, and this is if you're watching that, this is the third game.
Cool.
I believe it's a tie.
Yeah, on Twitch TV, you could watch a match, and she's going head to head with somebody who knows how to play on this table, and she's every bit as lethal as whoever
and
this
don't
gal
spoil
is.
this for me because I don't remember the end of it. I've seen the end, I just don't remember it. And hopefully we get her back. I feel like
Jim, why
what
don't
she
you do
was
some
about
play
to
by?
say.
You want to? Yeah, why don't you talk for Cindy Head, Clay? Because we want.
Well, I just imagine like instead of her saying no, like this is what I wanted to hear. At least maybe I'll just speak in like that perspective.
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
instead of her saying, "Well, I'm not worried about what they're going to do. I'm going to put my product on the table and leave it up to them to figure out how to beat it." And I don't know, Jim.
Yeah,
if that's even like the if that's even. I mean, I would think that Cindy going to a match with that perspective, it's like an okay one to go in with because it's like I'm the best. You can just figure out how to beat me, right?
There's
I think
Cindy.
we have her back now.
Cindy, you're back?
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Cool.
We lost you right when you were going to tell us why you did not follow players around.
Okay, because I don't want to get a preconceived idea in my head of what I need to do. For instance, when I'm passing, most of the time I don't know what pass I'm going to do until I see it and feel it.
Oh.
And so, and when I'm shooting, now I may look at their defense and see what I think their strength or their weaknesses is, but I usually go into that game, I throw out what I have, and if it's not working, then I make adjustments.
And so on the fly, you're adjusting to their game.
Correct.
Now, what about? I mean, because
that was pretty close, by the way. You pointed out that's pretty close to what I was guessing that was going to how that
Clay was filling in.
Now,
here's the thing, though. There are some players who don't show you their good stuff until the second game. Have you ever experienced that?
And that's when I have to make adjustments. But
Okay.
there are some people that I do watch some, but I just feel like I do better if I'm not studying someone's game.
Right. Okay.
That's just me.
Right. That's unique. Well, it's absolutely unique. Now, I know that some of our TS players that we've talked to on FoosTalk Live carried notebooks on other players.
Yeah, no, I don't do that.
Gotcha. Well,
apparently
supreme,
it didn't need to.
supreme confidence. Like mortals like me were looking for any edge. Meanwhile, Cindy's like, I'm just going to show up and pound you into the ground. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to change. By the way, we have the great attention hog, Steve Murray, in chat saying he won 6 designated mix with you. Is that a fact, Cindy? Did Steve Murray win?
That is
straight, by the way.
That's amazing.
Consecutive.
Wow.
He was like a brick wall back there. He was an awesome goalie.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
He carried him. You probably carried him to all those.
He was not a great shooting goalie, as so often the winners of these things are, but he had a great shooting forward. So, one of the things, we're also on Twitch TV tonight, and we're showing some highlights from your career. And the one that kind of sticks out for me, and the one I think that's on the air now, was the 2006 ITSF Multi-Table World Championships in St. Vincent, Italy. My first Multi-Table World Championship, your first Multi-Table World Championship. And going into that, I was of the opinion, I had, of course, watched you play for many years. I was of the opinion that you were the greatest lady player of all time, but you still needed to kind of prove it by beating some of these great international players. And at this event, you ended up doing that. I don't want to be a spoiler for those matches, but one of the ladies you played, and I had her on my list tonight as an honorable mention, great athlete on the table, was the Swiss player. Maybe she was playing for Italy at the time. Was Samantha De Paolo.
Correct.
You played her in the semifinals. You played Estelle Jacot of France in the final. But it was a heated match. It was a very competitive match. She was a great athlete on the table as well, could do so many things, so tough, so competitive. Talk a little bit about the fact this was the first time you'd ever seen her, ever played against her. Talk a little bit about that matchup.
I will have to say, of all my titles I have, those mean the most to me.
That's amazing.
It was amazing to be there and to experience that. I was just in awe of the whole situation, the whole tournament. I was a little surprised of the sportsmanship that she showed while we played. It took me back a little bit, and then I was like, "Oh no, we're not doing that." But she's an amazing player. She was very vocal, in not a nice way in some of those matches. But she was a great opponent, and somehow I pulled it out in the end and took it home.
Now, when you say vocal, was she being vocal in English or in her own native language?
In her own language, but the people that understood her language told me she was being very rude to me.
Really?
Yeah, I was commentating the match, and I got that sense, even though I did not speak Italian. But the thing about it, you're a player who has played on a lot of different tables. We've talked about them, but you went to that event and you played on the Roberto Sport. You played on Garlando. At the time, I think it was Tech Ball. I think it was the German table. These were tables you had never seen before, right? You were obviously comfortable on Tornado, but then you're having to play on these other tables, which you had never played on before. Talk a little bit about that experience.
I know what it is. I know the term "fish out of water," what it means now. That's exactly how I felt. The first day, it was really tough, but after a couple of days, I started adjusting a good bit to them. The hardest for me was the Bonzini. That was by far the hardest. The other ones, I think I adjusted pretty well on. I did pretty good on the Garlando. The Tech Ball, I did pretty good on. But by far, Bonzini was, it's brutal.
I just watched you minutes ago shoot a pull shot on Bonzini, throw the rod, take 3 steps back from the table, walk over to the score counter with both your hands, flip the point like you were about to slap the person who was in front of you, and then walk back. So it didn't look that tough for me with you on Bonzini. That's great.
Really, it was tough.
Yeah,
He is a true champion. She is a great player on that Bonzini table. She was a fierce opponent. She was very good.
So I got to ask my question from you, because I asked this question of the great winners that come on here. So if I didn't ask this question of you and you're listening, you weren't a great winner in my eyes. No, just kidding. I'm asking you, you're a great winner. And I love to ask this question. So in the clutch, when it's 4-4 and you need to execute a pass or you need to execute a shot and you do it time in and time again, that's why you're a champion. How do you manage the pressure in those situations?
Believe it or not, well, not now in my career because I'm older. And, my career is pretty much almost to the end. Mm-hmm. But before, I actually felt like I played better when the pressure was on. Like, you guys don't know what it's like to be in a room in a pit and the whole room be pulling against you.
Right.
Well, that only made me play better. It only made me rise to the occasion. And the more pressure, the more I felt like I needed to step up and to prove what I could do. And actually, I didn't mind the pressure situations back then. I kind of lived for it.
I wonder if there's some. Do you think there's some similarity there to when you're being bullied and you're telling yourself you're not gonna Mr. Not Today guy, I'm gonna come back. You think it's the same thread running through you?
I do.
You have I like that.
I do. Yeah. And the same was playing the girl in Italy, Samantha. It may not have been as close had she not made me so mad. But back in the day, when I would get mad, I would play so much better. It just, I don't know what it was. I could seem to step it up a notch if I was really mad. And I think that she did not help, her situation by continuing to throw insults my way and make me mad.
even in Italian. Yeah.
Digging her own ditch. Like you're just digging your own ditch right now.
All right, I have a successful plan if I ever play Cindy. I'm just every single point, I'm just going to say the nicest thing
that works.
Possibly say.
Thank you.
I'm old.
Yeah. By the way, that match against Samantha DiPaolo is at InsideFoos.com. It's part of the event at 2006 ITSF Table Soccer World Championships. And, you know, the thing, I think the common thread, Mark, with that question that you have asked of all these great champions is they really have to embrace the moment, right?
Mhm.
You don't carve into it. I mean, you don't fall away from it. You kind of lean into it, right? And embrace it and want it. That's what you live for, right? You live for these 4-4 moments. And when you approach it that way, it becomes a lot easier to play. The pressure really isn't there.
There's a quote about defining moments. Are you going to define the moment or let the moment define you? And there's not been a single champion that has come on here and said, man, I just shit myself and I worry about failure. And I think about what my mom and dad are going to think of me if I don't make that. No one says that, right? Everybody says how they focus, how they hone in, how they separate themselves from the anxiety, how they compartmentalize it and put it into a space. There's only different answers that show how they do not let the moment define them. They define the moment. Cindy has the same. Please, I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead, Cindy.
No, exactly. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. You just said it perfectly.
You might have said it a little more politely.
Plus graphic.
No, I mean, he's right. The satisfaction that I would get after, I would be, sometimes I've been down 4-0 and come back and won. That's happened to me a couple of times. But the satisfaction of stepping up and pulling your game up to the level that you need to come back and overcome that, that is just a satisfaction that it's like an adrenaline. It's like being an officer. When you're out there and you're answering those calls and you're a very tough situation, you do what you have to do. And then when it's over, that adrenaline hits you and you're like, whoa,
right.
So for me, foosball is kind of like that. I get an adrenaline rush when I'm doing what I need to do and I can pull out that point that has to be made or that shot, that pass that has to be passed. It's just it's an adrenaline rush for me.
That's amazing.
So, Cindy, I was looking at the Alabama News Center article that just came out in March of 2021. A really wonderful article where Jim actually is quoted. It's a fascinating article, and there's a quick 9-minute snippet of you playing on Tornado and Bonzini against Estelle, a French player.
Yes. She's amazing. She's a great player.
Yeah. Now, I noticed that her teammates, were making a lot of noise there. How did you block that out?
I can't explain it other than to tell you, like when I would be in the pits and, everybody pulls for an underdog. I totally get that.
Sure.
And you could have the whole pits pulling against me. And when it's time for that ball to be served or it's like quiet. I don't hear any of that. I can just block it out. I don't know how, but somehow I can just block that out.
Is that the same effect though? Does it incentivize you to hear the cheering for the other side?
That part, I don't know. I can tune it out when I need to. Say that that's happening and I'm behind or whatever, or they're having a crucial point that's turned in their favor and the crowd's going wild. When I need to, I can tune it out. But when I need it to fire me up or pump me up, I listen to it. It's very weird, but I can tell you there's been several matches that I would have lost had the crowd had not gotten me really mad. And able to turn it around.
Yeah, I get it.
If they would just shut up, mind their own business.
It just fires me up, And I understand people are going to pull for who they want. I don't have a problem with that. In a lot of ways, it helped me over the years.
And in some ways, that's like just managing. If you can manage your adrenaline, like your fight or flight, if you manage that, you can focus. So I used to wrestle in high school, and man, like depending on if I was wrestling a big name. Holy smokes. It was a cross between a flat out on the mat anxiety attack. Like, oh my God, I'm having an anxiety attack right now. Can I put it together and not get pinned and embarrassed in front of 300 people? And I don't like basketball. It's the same thing. And it's the people that fall victim to letting the adrenaline overtake them. If adrenaline dumps, now you have no energy. But Cindy can focus that adrenaline. She can make sure she manages it. It doesn't manage her. She manages it, and she takes what she needs from it. Clearly, that's why she has so many championships.
Right?
So, yeah.
Repeating this again and again and again. No, it's It's fascinating.
Yeah. And Cindy, you've had a chance also, and we've asked this of several ladies who have appeared on here, Liz Moore and Midori, et cetera. You've had a chance to play for Team USA. And I believe you played when they were in France, I believe, and when the World Cup event. Talk a little bit about that, about how this is, you're playing with this team, with all these other ladies who oftentimes are your competitors when we're in the States. Talk about that experience a little bit.
It is a very weird experience. And I was supposed to go to this last one, but I had a flare up with my Lyme and I had to pull my name at the last minute.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go there. So I'm going to try to go to the next one. But back to your question, it's very weird because you play against these opponents all year, and you're battling each other. You're trying to win these events. And, and so you have to see them in a different light because you want to beat them and win, and then you get put on this team with them and you're all this one close team to where you have such strong, camaraderie. And it's weird, but it's also great because it brings you closer together as friends, even though you've been battling each other the whole year. So it's a great experience. And I really enjoy playing on the USA team.
Yeah, that seems to be the common opinion. It's just such a great dynamic of getting to be part of that team. Over the last 5 or 6 years, you still are making some appearances. You're still doing pretty well when you do come. But, I had you at number 2 on my best athletes in foosball, right? And that means you're versatile. And you have had to be. When the last 5, 6, 8 years, whatever it's been, I have not seen you shoot your pull shot very often. And I know there's a reason for that. And you've gone with your pin series. You go with the quick push kick or pull kick or whatever you need to do in order to score the ball. Talk a little bit about competing really, for the most part, without using what has been over the course of your career, your number 1 shot.
Oh, it's been tough. It's like I have to throw everything in the kitchen sink at people now because I can't shoot. I don't know if you remember, Jim, but I used to have a pretty decent pull.
You had a very good pull, really good pull shot. Yeah.
So I've had some life-altering injuries over the years from being a police officer and other injuries. But after my right thumb was pretty much ripped off and put back on, I developed such massive arthritis and it just hurts too much to shoot the pull. And so I just don't, it just takes away too much from me physically to keep trying to shoot it. So I just, I do different shots. I still love the game. I'm nothing like I used to be, but I still have love for the game. And I'll still, keep throwing the kitchen sink and anything else I have at people to keep playing. Mostly I do the tic tac and the push kick and the front, the front pin, Euro pin, like a lot of the Europeans used to do. But no, I truly, truly miss being able to shoot my pull. When I lost that ability to shoot that shot, it probably took my game down 65, 70%. So, but I'm still fighting. I still play and I still enjoy it, but I do miss my pull shot.
Cindy, I'm a 90s purist who can never bring myself to faithfully shoot a monkey. But hey, you know what? In your situation, I'll be back. I'll be in your. You can't. Have you been able to stomach yourself spinning the rod? Can you do that, or is it just go ahead?
You guys notice that I have never even attempted to shoot a rollover? Has anybody noticed?
Never.
I was
I've
committing
never
that
seen
right
it.
now.
Yep.
I was committing that right now. That is beneath us. But I'm asking you to increase the longevity of your career. Would you please shoot a monkey?
No. Yeah.
As much as it would probably help my game, I just can't bring myself to do it.
All right, fine.
I love it. And I'm not sure she needs it. I'm not sure she needs
it. That's just my opinion.
Cindy, you're my hero. Publicly, I'm proclaiming you my hero right
he
now.
Once again has a crush on you, Cindy. Once again. It's back. The crush is back.
So Cindy, we've been debating this for quite some time, thanks to Mark. But we've been asking people who appear on FoosTalk Live how you feel about when you go to, shall we say, compete in Europe at the World Cup. The crowd is just enormous and it's loud and boisterous, and you come to America to compete in a major and it's dead quiet. What do you think we need to do about this side of the pond? And when it comes to playing major tournaments, do you believe that there should be more noise?
Guys, I am brutally honest. I don't know if you want me to answer this question.
Oh, come on. Come on.
I think foosball has taken a turn for the worse, and where I think it's hurting the sport. Of all these new players get their feelings hurt so easily.
Yeah.
They don't want any noise. They don't. I mean, it's just the new norm of what people think foosball should be has taken the fun. It's taken the excitement. It's taken the glory out. It's almost like being in England and having tea and crumpets. That's not what foosball is.
Telling you. Preach. Preach.
Get over it. If you're that much of a, if your feelings get hurt that easy over one little movement of anything on that table, you might be in the wrong sport. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh, I like that.
Cindy, I don't know if you listen to the show regularly, but you're basically you're restating you're in the right spot. Because all I do is I've railed on it. As a matter of fact, I think the last 2 weeks might have been a break because I'm worried we're going to lose listeners. But I've been railing on people every single week about we are not supposed to be like golf. We are not supposed to be like tennis. We are supposed to be a boisterous, energetic, thriving, lively game. Or we're basically playing furniture. We're quietly playing furniture and afraid to hurt each other.
What do you have against tea and crumpets, Mark? Come on.
The world.
But no, that is certainly one of the Inside Foods 2.0, the new Inside Foods. It's something that we are focusing on pretty intently. How can we increase that competitive environment to make it organically noisier and louder and the crowd being more involved and these players not to be so sensitive to things, as you say. And that certainly is an issue. And it's certainly something I've seen evolve over the years. And it's not just in this country either. So no, I love it. I love it when you're brutally honest, and please do not hesitate to be so on any of these questions.
Yes, that was great.
Let me ask you this. Let me give you, for instance, I think taking the serve away from foosball, I think that actually hurt the game because we are catering to everything European players. And that serve, I have seen several matches lost on dropping that serve. That's part of the game. The pressure, being able to, put that serve in correctly and get it to yourself. Don't get me wrong. I understand that we have to kind of adapt for the European players, but we don't have to give away everything that we are. We should not have to give away our serve. We should be able to serve the ball. We should be able to be loud and boisterous. And I noticed over there that they cannot stand that. I got called several times for making a loud comment afterwards. Like, they don't even like that. So
really,
I don't understand. Yeah. They don't like that.
Wow. That's just
back when I went, they did not like that. I haven't been in a long time. I don't know if it's changed over there, but the ref took a point away from me because I shot a really hard pull shot and the ball was already in the hole. And then I did a recoil. The ball was in the hole before I ever recoiled. And he took a point away from me for.
Wow.
So I'm just not sure I don't know. I just never understood that one.
Before we move on, I'll just tell you that your opinion is validated by Western European players who think that it's gone too far, that the game has turned into now we hear stories about if someone thinks that they were jarred, the culture now is to give the ball up. So if you think you were jarred and you if you motion that there's a possibility you were jarred, they give the ball back freely. And for me, I'm not from that era. I'm like, I didn't jar you, and you're not getting this ball. There's no way in hell you're getting this ball. But
I've been called for jarring 3 different times over there, and I'm just commentating.
You were powerful.
I took it as a compliment. I really did.
What do you think, Jim? What do you think about the rules now and how they have gone to such extremes? You commentate. You see
I do. And to be fair, much of the new rule book, the international rule book, when it was originally created, was a little more American than it was European. But certainly some of the things have certainly, and you understand why it has to happen. We have to find some homogenous answers to different rules on different tables in different countries and different cultures, et cetera. But there are areas, and really the bottom line comes down to so many of these things are judgment calls. The referees are not trained as well as they could be to make these judgment calls. The fact that you got called for a recoil after the ball was in pretty much says it all. That was just a bad call by a bad referee, probably. So that's a lot of it. It's a difficult thing to be able to make all these different styles kind of fit together in one puzzle. And they're doing the best they can, and there's still some flaws in the system, and it's things that hopefully, as we evolve and move forward, that we can kind of get to a point where most everyone is happy with it. So, but yes, players are too sensitive. A little bit of talking during the match should be legal. Jars, we need to take another look at what really makes a jar, and of course, it's different on every table. But a little bit of strong arming that rod should be okay. And so I want entertainment. And Mark and I talk about this all the time. I want entertainment, right? I think you were on my top 5 most entertaining players, I'm pretty sure. Because you're just fun to watch. I mean, all that, the pointing in the goal when it goes in, the boom babies. And I hear it across the room and I go, yes, I'm in a foosball tournament. Cindy Head's going boom baby over on table 71. And she'll be here soon, I'm sure. I don't know. I was kind of all over the place with that answer, but hopefully as we move forward, a lot of these issues will kind of iron themselves out.
Well, Cindy, go ahead. Yeah, Mark.
Just that our sport is very difficult to watch by itself. I'm going to stop slamming this point over. Cindy's never heard me on this spiel. The sport is hurting without human drama. And at the very least, you need human drama. If you're going to watch 4 people standing at a piece of furniture swinging toy men around, there better be some drama, or it's not going to be novel and eye catching. And Cindy brings that. Tommy Atkinson brings it all differently, right? Don Swan brings it. Johnny Horton brings it all differently, but Cindy brings it. Cindy brings something to watch.
Yes.
Cindy gets the same following of people that Johnny would get or Tommy would get, especially in the absence of them. You want to know where the human drama is, and you know that Cindy's going to be emoting, and she's going to be energetic, and she's going to deliver a show.
Yeah, and we want a story. We also want a narrative.
Was there a question in there somewhere?
No, just like why don't you guys all take yourselves off now, and I'll just keep talking by myself. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Tom. I cut you off, man.
So this, Cindy. By the way, FoosTalk Live. First of all, you're listening to FoosTalk Live with Cindy Head, one of the greatest players of all time, and this is a call-in show. So we have Mike Green on the line who wants to speak to Cindy Head. Mike Green, welcome once again to FoosTalk Live.
Hey guys, hey Cindy, how you doing?
Hey Mike, I was just thinking the other day about how when you and Horton and Benitez and AJ would come to Atlanta, we used to have a blast at those tournaments.
Oh yeah, people don't realize it, man, but I actually got to play with the great Cindy Head one time in Georgia. She probably don't even remember, but she says this is right after Dynamo and Tornado took over, and she says, hey, why don't you grab them rods for me for a change? So I did. It was amazing. It was the most fun I ever had. We had so much fun. I don't even know if we ever stopped laughing the whole tournament. I kind of felt bad like I let her down, but it was a blast playing with Cindy.
We used to have so much fun. You guys were a lot of fun. I really enjoyed you guys.
Yeah, you and Casey, boy, you guys used to go at it, didn't you?
I miss Casey. He was, oh my God, he made me laugh so hard.
Well, I really hated to interrupt because I'm mesmerized when Cindy talks. I could listen for days, but I was telling Jim my Cindy story today, and I told him I'd call in. And my first turn was the 81 Worlds, and I went. And to be honest with you, I mean, I was going. My guys were Spear and Lafredo, Kaiser. And I'm like, man, I want to see these guys. And then I get there and I hear this little 100-pound nothing over there with the Southern voice. And I look over and, man, I'm like, I was just so impressed. Sorry, I'm an old guy. I'll say it. I never seen a girl play like that. She didn't play like that.
You did.
But, so anyway, it was really weird because the 2 people I wound up that I was the most impressed with that weekend was Alwood Macacau, who wound up playing in the finals, and then Cindy. But the story goes, so I'm standing there watching Cindy play Carrie Crowell, and it's like First game destroys her. Second game, she's got like 3-0, and Carrie just calls a timeout. She like looks at Lori Strands. I mean, those were supposed Cindy Heads of the day. They were the legends, and I'm like, whoa. And she looks back at Cindy and says, "I'm sorry, what's your name?" And Cindy says, "Cindy Head," in that beautiful Alabama accent. And she says, "Nice to meet you." And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, it really wasn't nice for you to meet her." But yeah, that was
is
amazing.
awesome.
So
That
my
is so
crush
awesome.
started on Cindy in
I'm gonna smash
1981.
you.
So yeah. So
I
I
had
got
heard
to
so many
beat
stories
Torres. I
about
had a
this.
crush on Cindy in 1981. So it's a little pat before yours. So anyway, I just had to tell that story.
Love that.
Thank you, Mike. That was a sweet story.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, were you? I mean, you're going up against maybe the two greatest ladies of the tournament soccer era, and Lori Schrantz and Carrie Crowell. Did you know who they were? Did you know their names? And were you intimidated at all by them? I don't think you were intimidated. I'm not sure you've ever been intimidated, but did you know who they were? You knew what you were up against.
I did. I had heard all these stories because, there were a lot of TS players in Birmingham. I just didn't really play a lot of it, but they had all told me all these stories about them. So, I was a little hesitant when I, had to play them. But then after watching them, I thought, hey, I think I can compete with these ladies. And then when it started, I just forgot about who they were and played my game, and it turned out.
It's amazing, yeah.
Even
All right,
on
well, guys, I'm going to
didn't
get
like
off
very
here and
much.
let you guys
Yeah,
do
I
your
did not
thing.
like
But
that table, but I saw a really good back pin series on that table, actually.
Yeah.
So Mike, I really appreciate you calling in. It's great to hear these stories. And one of these days, we're all going to be in the same room, and I'd like to hear more of these stories. Maybe some of the more uncensored ones.
you might need it longer than 1 weekend for that. But I can definitely tell you one thing: if Cindy was intimidated by anybody, she didn't show it. I mean, she took the reins that weekend and never turned them loose. So anyway, you guys have a great night.
Oh, you too,
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for calling in.
Thanks, dude.
And we do have another caller for you, Cindy. Already, you've gotten broken the record for a number of callers. We have Sissy Whipple from Texas is on the line. Sissy, are you with us?
I am.
Cindy, this is Sissy. Sissy, this is Cindy. You guys know each other?
Hey, girl, what's up?
Very, very well. Actually, my husband is sitting here glued to the TV, Cindy, watching you on Twitch. And, my husband don't play foosball, but he's your biggest fan. So anytime Cindy calls me and she says, "How's Joe doing?" my husband's eyes get all big. He fanboys out. And he compares her to Tom Brady and Michael Jordan. Nobody's got that many titles in the world in any sport. He's obsessed with Cindy Head. Okay. So I just want you to know he's sitting here just like, oh, look, he's watching you play. But the reason I'm calling Cindy is, first of all, I love you, girl. And we've been friends for a really long time. And I remember when I first came into the sport, you were just under your wing, so sweet to me. And I think my favorite saying of all time is, "Come on, Dawn, how bad do you want it?" I'm like, I'll never forget that. Dawn was just like, "Okay, I'm in." And I was teaching her how to growl in the bathroom. It was funny. But as far as women players in our sport, we are dominated by the men. I mean, it is a male-dominated sport. And I heard so many stories back in the day from Tina Raton and Lori Strands. And what was it like for you back then coming into the sport with even more men and not as many women?
Back when I was starting to play and becoming a really good player, I think what made me get to the level that I was able to accomplish is I always played the open events against the guys. And it didn't matter how bad they beat me. Every time somebody beat me, I would take something and learn one thing from it, whether it be whatever that pass they were doing or that shot. But the more I played the men, the better player it made me. And I believe by doing that, I fully believe that more women started playing in the open events and the men's events. And I believe that's what made the women start getting better, is because they saw that we could jump in there and play these guys. And I believe when the package deal came along, it helped the women because we were able to play in the men's events and not have to spend so much different, all those different entry fees. And I think that started helping the women. And I guess I never felt dominated by the men, because I always felt like if I played hard enough and practiced hard enough and fought hard enough, that I could get as good as some of the men. So I never really thought of it like that, I guess. I always looked at it as a challenge to get to where they were. I don't know if that answered your question or not.
No, it does. It does. And you're a trailblazer. Like, you opened a door for the women, and the women followed you through it. And even today, it's like, I love to beat up on the boys. The women's events are great, but I want to beat up on the boys because, they're really good. And when you can play at that level and then you beat somebody, you're just like, oh, yes, I'm getting better, right? So I do understand what you were saying. Secondly, I want to thank you for everything you have done for us women and taking the time with all the newbies. And you don't even have to know them, Cindy. You're just such a good person on and off the table. We're close friends off the table, but people don't understand, like, when you start grunting and yelling and stuff, I was like, well, if Cindy can do it, I can do it. I mean, I've been caught going, ugh, during a shot, And my husband, I told him we sound like, pigs in a sty because we're grunting and we're like making all kinds of noises when we play. But I wanted also to ask you, what do you think about, I remember when you played Samantha DePaulo. And Jim Stevens, thank you very much for when you started doing audio for World Cup, because I remember that Dusty Bambanek was in Ohio and I was in Corpus Christi, Texas, and we were listening to that match. And when you said, come on, Cindy, and we could visualize you because we know you that well. We've seen you so many times, but we couldn't see you because there was no visual yet. And I want you to know that that was amazing, Jim. Thank you so much, because we were living that thrill right through that voice of yours. And you've done a lot for us and Inside Foods, and you are the best commentator, hands down, in the world in our sport.
Thank you, Sissy.
I agree with that.
You're welcome, right? I'm like, how could you
What's funny about that event is that it wasn't that we didn't want to do video. We did want to do live streaming video, but the bandwidth in the internet at that venue, which was this ancient arena in this small town, was just not fast enough for us to also do video. So we did only audio for that. So I was, for that weekend, Tom Robinson, I was a radio commentator.
There you go.
Much like my heroes, Vince Scully, Chick Hearn, et cetera, back in LA. So.
Way ahead of your time.
Absolutely. Oh, that was awesome, though. I mean, I sit here and I get chills thinking about me and Dusty just listening to it.
So, Sissy, did you have another question?
Well, I did kind of. You're going to be playing more this year, Cindy?
Some, probably not the whole year, but I'm gonna play some this year. I'm actually gonna try to qualify to be on the to go back over to. Is it gonna be in France this year? The next year, the World Cup.
2022.
Yeah,
2022.
Yeah, it'll be in France. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to play a couple and try to see if I can qualify to go over there.
Cool.
Well, I know
Yeah,
you're going to
sounds
Texas
good.
State, and I will see you there. And also, Bardo Hearn Gym, by the way, it's at the Crown Plaza in Austin, off of I-35, not the Comfort Inn.
Yep.
And I do hope, Cindy, you make it out to Austin this year.
I'm not sure. We'll have to see about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
thanks for calling in, Sissy. We appreciate it, and we'll definitely see you at Texas State. We'll see you at Bardo now as well at the Crown Plaza there.
All right. Thanks, guys,
thanks
so
for
much.
calling.
I'm enjoying the show.
Thanks for calling in.
Bye.
Bye.
Sissy brought up a point, something that I would like to talk on for a second.
Sure.
As far as when you go to these tournaments, I think it's hugely important for players like myself and these top pros and pro masters. I always try to play many pickup games with anybody that wants to play. I always try to interact with newer players, and
That's great.
Very cool.
I always try to, if anybody's interested, in my opinion, if they ask me, I will gladly give it. I truly believe that is a way to help the sport grow, is to interact with these newer players and to, let them play with you or play against you, and to give them advice or to give them encouragement. I do believe that really helps this sport grow. And I've always tried to do that at every tournament I go to.
What do you think of Sullivan Rue?
I think she's awesome. I think she's got a lot of potential. I think she's got two great parents and a lot of different tables to learn on. I think that she will have many titles in her future, but I will make a prediction who is going to be the next me.
Prediction, and who would that?
I love this. All right.
Yeah.
I see the qualities in this person that I saw in myself. She is just, you cannot razzle her in any way. She is fierce. She never gets shaken in any manner. And I believe Midori is going to be the next me.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
She is amazing on front. She is amazing on back. She understands the game. She understands what you need to change when something's not working. She has that demeanor where nothing bothers her, nothing gets in her way. And I see many, many, many titles in her future.
She's fierce.
Amazing.
Yeah, she's truly a fierce competitor, no doubt. In addition to the fact that she's jumped in as a guest host a few times here on FoosTalk Live, and always holds her own, makes us look bad.
She's a very talented lady.
She really is. And of course, going back to back at World Championships, something you know very much about, but very few ladies have done it. Midori, 2018, 2019, won both doubles and singles at the Tornado Worlds. So I think that's a pretty good pick. And I agree. I think Midori has the potential to be, especially with her multi-table experience, et cetera, to be the best player in the world, potentially. And to be the next you. I don't know if anybody could be the next you. but
I mean a lot of titles. I didn't mean that. I just meant I have a lot of respect for her. And
no, that's what I mean. I mean, your record is, is phenomenal. It'd take a while for her to reach you.
There's a great story within this story, because Midori was on the show and spoke to the first time she played you in a final. And she said that she had a plan, she had a strategy, she knew what she wanted to do, and she got in front of you and you took her apart. But it was very, very important for her. She said you were aggressive and assertive, and she said it was a very important learning moment for her. And she came back stronger the next time. And I think the next time she might have beat you in singles the next time. But I think it's a testament to what we described earlier, that you're a bridge for some of these women players and men players, for that matter, to get to the next level of their game. If you beat up with Cindy Head in a final and she crushes you and then you quit, it was clearly the wrong sport for you. You meet Cindy Head in the final and she crushes you and you're emboldened and motivated to improve your game, then Cindy did the right thing for you, and you're in the right spot. So,
well, we have all been beaten, pretty handily at some point in time in our career.
Sure.
But that should just make you more determined to figure out how to stop that from happening again, and how to, next time you play that person, what you need to change, what you need to do to turn that match around. And I see that in her. She understands how to do that. So I think she's going to have a very long, successful career. And don't get me wrong, I think Sully is awesome too. I think she's going to have a lot of titles in her future. I just think Midori has a much better understanding of the whole concept of what you have to do to win, what you need to change, and how to go about to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff. Really good. So, Cindy, we're up against it. We only got a few minutes left here. Mark, I know you got one more question as well.
No, not a question. I was going to say we can only hope that in the context of Midori and Sully both listening to this, you've created one of the great rivalries and nemesis situations of all time.
There you go.
Remember the guy that Cindy was.
Respect for both of those ladies.
I love it.
I'm sure it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I do.
So what's next? What's next for you? Sorry, Tom. Go ahead, Tom.
No, I do have one other question, and this is just a hypothetical. Let's say we told you in 3 to 4 months there was one tournament you could play, and that would be it. The only tournament you could play forever and ever and ever. Let's say a tournament from the past. What tournament would that be, and where would it be?
Good question.
You mean the favorite tournament that I go to, or you mean
Like
anywhere
the
in
tournament
the
that
world?
you would love to play again and again and again if you could. What is that tournament?
1990.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no, probably the European tournament. I just
Oh, okay.
Italy. I can't explain to you the gratitude that I felt to be able to go over there and play on those tournaments and to win. It was, I don't think I'll ever have that kind of feeling again. It was amazing. It meant a lot to me.
Yeah, and it showed. What a pleasure it was. And I'm looking at some of the chat here on Twitch, and Iceman, our good friend Ezekiel Iceman Moore, he was working that tournament with me, and we had a microphone on the table. And after the match was over, after you beat Samantha DePaulo, and I'm reminded here that she said that Cindy got lucky to beat me.
She told me twice.
Yeah,
lucky.
She did. And Iceman and I were just shaking our head and saying, "What match is she watching?" Because that was not luck that won that match for her.
Did you capture on video what I said to her after the second time?
What did you say?
I think we did. Yes.
Did you capture it? Okay.
Go ahead, repeat it though.
What was it?
Yeah.
I just walked back up to her and said, "Listen, you are a great player, but you will never be a champion until you learn how to win and lose gracefully. You need to learn how to do that."
That's right.
Wow. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
that's it. But she
Definitely.
she was pretty vocal in the names she was calling me, and I just kept playing. So it all turned out well.
Yeah.
It sure did. And again, we're right up against it here. We only have a couple of minutes left, but talk about what's coming up. What's next on the foosball calendar for you? When will we see you next? When will we get a chance to enjoy you coming up?
I'm actually gonna make it to Texas State. I have
Great.
only
Nice.
been to one of those,
Cool.
and that was like
Wow.
many, like 15 years ago. So I think I'm gonna actually make it this time.
Super.
Awesome.
That's great news.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looking
so that will
forward
be
to
my
it.
next one, and then the one here in Colorado. I know those are two that I'm going to for sure.
Super.
So
All
Cindy,
right.
we're going to be there at Texas State. Will you would you be able to spare some time to sit down and talk?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Oh, that's
Another thing
That's all I need to hear.
to look forward to.
Cindy, I
Yep.
want you to know that I'm married with kids now, but I've always loved you.
Mhm.
And I will always love you.
I love you guys too. You're so sweet. You're amazing.
We can't. It won't work for us now, but there was a time. So I just want you to know there was a time. It could have been
Thank you,
you
man.
and me.
I'm so sorry that I missed out on that opportunity.
Mark is such a romantic.
He is unstoppable, man.
Thank you, guys. I really enjoyed it, and I hope I was able to answer some of your questions satisfactory.
Oh, no,
You're great.
you are a natural.
Lovely.
You're
Awesome.
fantastic. Yeah, we the door is open at any time you'd like to come back and hang out. We're more than ready to have you come back.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Cindy. We'll see you soon. That's
Okay,
exciting.
bye-bye.
See you, Poozin.
Yeah,
Bye.
absolutely. Take care, Cindy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, another great guest here
Wow.
on FoosTalk Live. It is just so much
Yeah.
fun to talk with these players who have been involved with the sport for so long at the very highest level, get their insights into the hows and whys of why they are champion players. And great job by Cindy.
Yeah, and
When
what
the
a great,
when the 2 hours flies by like that,
Yeah.
and you're like, I wish I had more time.
Mhm.
That's when you know you had a great show. You're like,
Yeah.
man,
On
we're
my
2
end of
hours.
it,
It's been 2 hours already. Go ahead.
I didn't have to hover over mute the whole time. That was nice. There's
Yeah.
no errant F-bombs flying around the room.
Yeah.
Oh.
No
I can
F-bomb
just sit back
stats
and
tonight.
enjoy it.
No, that wasn't going to happen with Cindy. Now with Mark, apparently.
Look,
But
All I said was I said the S word one time.
yeah.
I said SHIT one time. Come on, guys.
It was
Now
very
you spelled
graphic,
it. Good
but hey.
grief. I mean, gosh.
I will definitely recommend my daughters not listen to this show. And
Sorry.
she loves the show. She really liked the Tony Bacon episode.
Did-
Oh no!
But,
Can you put?
hey,
Can you bleep me out and put crap instead of shit?
No, this is live.
No,
live.
no, it was fine. It's cable
Yes.
or whatever it is. But no, great spending some time with her. Mike Green, of course, coming on and lending his insights.
Oh yeah,
as
Sissy,
well.
Thank you, Sissy, for calling in.
and yeah,
Thank you,
Sissy, for jumping in there. No, so guys, I know we need to think about the future here. Mark, you got some parting shots?
Please check out our Kickstarter.
Yes.
Help us. We're 92% funded. It's only going to be Foosers that are going to bring us home. We don't get any funding unless we get to 100%. And we're going to buy equipment and take care, make Inside Foos, take it to the next level, get to our Kickstarter, and check out the swag. That's my Kickstarter pitch.
Yeah, for me, yeah, and I agree. Please do. Please pledge. Thanks for those who have already pledged. Thanks to those of you who will still pledge. For me, I'm like 10 days away from actually working a tournament, and so I'm kind of focusing on that, the logistics of it, what it's going to mean, some of the changes and advancements that we're making, and just the excitement of getting back out there and commentating some live foosball. So, great show tonight. Looking forward to more.
Yep. Next week we'll be back right here at FoosTalk Live. Thank you so much for tuning in for FoosTalk Live.
FoosTalk Live is a product of Inside Foos, all rights reserved. Brought to you in part by InsideFoos.com, 518 Prince, Foosballers the Movie, Foosball Clubs USA, and the USTSO. Tune in again next week for another episode of FoosTalk Live.
In the meantime,
we'll see you foozing.
Are we still live on Twitch?